On Sunday, we're going to be having a women in
Yeah,
overlanding roundtable.
that's a big one. Don't listen to
Yes.
this. Listen to this, guys.
Cool. This is cool. So we have Cappy from 410 Expedition. His wife is going to be joining it. Desk to Glory.
Ashley
Ashley
Giordano.
She is actually tying in remotely. Have you ever seen Ozark Overland Adventures?
Yep.
Well, Kara is going to be tying in as well, and it'll be kind of cool.
It's gonna be really good because I mean it's gonna happen. Like we're operating on Sunday, which is Mother's Day as well. So some people are like, "Oh, could you do it another weekend?" It's like, well, moms like to adventure too.
Are you into four-wheeling, camping, and exploring? How about off-road racing like mud bogs, shore course, wheel-to-wheel racing, or even desert races? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome to 4x4 Canada podcast. My name is Wes, and I've been four-wheeling since I was 6 weeks old. I have over 20 years experience in 4x4 shops, many more than that in the off-road racing, and a lifetime of exploring the backcountry across Canada. Every week we bring you a new guest where they give you their perspective on the industry. We discuss everything from four-wheeling, overlanding, every form of off-road racing across this great country, as well as we talk to Canadian manufacturers and 4x4 shops. Just a quick reminder that if you're looking for more episodes, you can find all of our episodes on 4x4canadapodcast.com or your favorite podcast sharing platform. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at 4x4canadapodcast.com. Now let's get to the show. If you're a Western Canadian outdoors adventure person, you're going to want to listen to this episode. We're going to talk to some guys that put on a really neat events that cater not only to the overlanding crowd, but also to those of us that enjoy other sports like kayaking, mountain biking, and all those other cool things that we do when we're wheeling and camping. Jason and Dave, welcome to the 4x4 Canada podcast.
It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, this is awesome.
Well, this is good. I've been looking forward to this one for a couple of weeks now. So you guys organize the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo. We'll put the links in the show notes, but your website is at aoaexpo.com.
That's right. Yeah.
And you can check out social media where they're on as AOA Expo, both on Facebook and Instagram. So
That's right.
So the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo has been happening on September long weekend for past few years. And you have a new event in Red Deer in May that we'll get into. I really want to talk about the new show, but let's get to know you guys a little bit more and how the expo started. We'll get you guys back separately on the show. I definitely want to talk to each of you guys separately, over another podcast episode. But in the meantime, let's tell the listeners what you got going on besides the expo events. Jason, you have a ton of stuff going on, but you're mostly known for your Overland Alberta YouTube channel. Can you quickly tell us a little bit about your Jeep and your videos?
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it started it back in 2019 and just having fun with it, just going out and exploring. And I'm like, well, hey, why don't I just make a video about it? And then, well, hey, why don't I put it up on YouTube? So I just kind of started from there and meeting other people and the overland crowd. And it was kind of neat, just, networking from there, kind of taking off. So that's kind of how it all started, mainly just because I wanted to record all the cool places I was going to.
Yeah, I've been watching your channel for a couple of years now, and you're all over the place. You spend some time in BC with my good friend Gary from Chief from BC, and you're up north for a bit, and you've been down to the States as well too. And it's been enjoyable watching all your travels and your exploring.
Oh, I appreciate that. That was fun. I actually want to come out and spend some more time with BC boys here and do some trails. So I used to live in BC. So for me, wheeling in the Caribbean is where I started.
Yeah.
So when I was a kid, man, I was out in the back roads, a kid that was eligible to drive. I'll just put it there.
They had cars back then?
Yeah, they did. Actually. But yeah, no, I started wheeling out in the Caribou and a lot of the back roads and stuff like that. So I miss that area a lot. So I want to come out and spend some time with BC boys and hit some spots. Actually, this summer, I think I'm going to be heading out there on a nice trip.
Nice. Well, let me know if you come through the Camels area within a couple hours, because we'll go do some wheeling. And that there's one thing that we've got, all around BC, just great scenery and mountains and, forest fire lookouts and all that stuff, right? So we can definitely show you some trails around the interior for sure.
Man, there's so many things you can see there. It reminds me of the States almost when you cross the border into BC. Yeah. It's just the world opens up to you.
That's why there's so many YouTube channels in BC versus the rest of Canada.
Right. Yes. That would make sense. Yeah, that would make sense.
So Dave.
Yes.
Dave.
That's me.
I've been avoiding you. I really want to get you on the show to talk to you about the Yucca pack campers that you make, but I'm scared that I'll end up putting a deposit on one and have to figure out how to pay for the rest of it. So
There's no fear.
I
There's
really,
nothing to fear.
I really love what you're doing. Honestly, I've been watching YouTube channel Blind Man Overland for a while. You driving to San Frontier, and I had my Xterra at the time that I found out, and then all of a sudden this popped up canopy thing to start showing up, right? So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about your channel and more importantly, the Yucca pack.
Sure. Yeah. So I started my channel shortly after Jay started his. And again, it was for me, I've been born and raised in Alberta, specifically in central Alberta. And I've been out exploring the Clearwater and the Blind Man River and the Red Deer River my entire life. It's where I've camped. It's where I've fished. It's just where most of the experiences that I have in the outdoors happened. And eventually what happened is when I left a career and started working with Mark Badgerow, who owned Mission Overland Trailers and who also initially started off-grid trailers out of his garage. So I met up with Mark years ago, and a few weeks before he actually came back from a trip, I started filming random videos for YouTube because as I'm out west and doing stuff, I'm always looking for other things to do while I'm out there, be it, wheeling or, some bushcrafty stuff or whatever. But I wanted to do something a little more creative, and I've always been kind of a creative in that way. And I decided I had a passion for filmmaking for a while. And I really, really wanted to make films. And at one time, I don't have data to prove this, but at one time I had one of Alberta's largest independent film companies in the province that was made primarily up of volunteers. So our sound guy was a volunteer. I ran the company. We worked with some local musicians that, were going to the Alberta Independent Music Festival, and we were doing spotlights on them. Long story short, I was very young when I did that. And that company ended up going tits up, just not knowing what I was doing. But I had awesome experiences meeting a whole bunch of people in the independent film scene and in the movie scene, and dabbled in a little bit of a Hollywood B celebrity type people. So I got to meet a lot of really cool people. I'm eternally grateful for it. But then I went back to the oil patch like a good Alberta boy. And then I spent a decade doing that and then was never home. And so I came home. I started spending more time outdoors. Eventually, I started working with Mark. And he had a trailer that I just fell in love with. I just fell in love with the product itself. It was so simple, but kind of revolutionized the teardrop space a little bit with the pop-up roof and the fully insulated models with no welding, nothing. And I always wanted, when I was a kid, I wanted to work for Mountain Safety Research. That's MSR. They made the Whisper Light and the Pocket Rocket, right? All these cool stoves. I'm a backpacker through and through. So I always wanted to work in the outdoor space. And when I started work with Mark, I said, you know what? I'm going to take what I learned from here. I'm going to apply it to do something that I love to do eventually down the road. I'm going to take the skills that I have and apply them down the road. And I just kind of started a YouTube channel at the same time to kind of take people along with that journey with my Nissan Frontier, because nobody was making Nissan Frontier content. And I mean nobody. Like there might have been 2 or 3. I know Hard Enduro was out of the States and a couple of other guys that were small at the time like me that were making it, but nobody was making it. So I figured, you know what, that's a market that nobody's reaching. And there's lots of people that have Grandpa's Frontier that want to make it look bitchin'. And I can help them do that. So yeah, that's how the YouTube channel started and all that nonsense.
And then the Yucca pack came along and the rest is history.
Yeah. Well, Yucca pack came along shortly after. There's a whole story beside. I mean, we can.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
We'll get into that on a separate episode for sure. But
the first time I met Dave was at the BC Overland Rally.
That's right.
And he was sleeping in his DIY top tent in the back of the Frontier.
Yeah. It's one of my first YouTube videos I ever posted. Yeah.
I was like, you know what? Good on him, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Hey, man, I have this thing where if you want something, try building it first. If you can't build it, then go buy it.
Yep, exactly. So just to give the folks a quick rundown, the Yucca pack is, for lack of better terms, a pop top canopy camper, I guess you'd want to call it.
Yes.
And like I said, we'll get into that in a whole, another episode, but it's, it's basically a clamshell style canopy.
Yeah. Canada's first to market adventure clamshell camper.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So I was talking to Bill from Crave Automotive back in January that we had him on. And that day he went up to your facility there and he came back and he was just raving about this Yucca pack camper. And I'm like, dude, can we talk about something else? Like, you don't have to talk me into it. I already want one. You don't have to talk me in. And he was so pumped about it because he spent a little bit of time with you. And so he was pretty excited about it. And everything I've been hearing is really good. And I should jump back to Jason as well. You've got a lot of stuff going on. You've got channel Overland, Alberta. Alberta Overland? Or Overland, Alberta?
Overland, Alberta.
Okay. Overland, Alberta. You've got that going on, but you're with the North Shore Off-Road store in Red Deer, and you've got a bunch of other things going on too.
But basically, I manage, so Raven Truck Accessories and North Shore Off-Road are basically the same company. And ours is kind of a half and half stores, half North Shore Off-Road, half Raven Truck Accessories. So I do that. And then I also run the YouTube channel. And then on top of that, I'm now vice president for Trails for Tomorrow as well.
Yes.
So that's going to be a big adventure for us this year. And on top of that, I have another company that I'm starting. So yeah, there's no shortage of me not having something to do. That's for sure.
Hey, let's talk about the Alberta Adventure Expo. That's, the real reason we're here tonight. Obviously, you guys have been friends for a while. And did the idea come up when you're sitting around the campfire one night, or what brought that idea on?
I actually have a write-up that my wife sent me in July of 2020. No, seriously though, we're sitting around a campfire and we're all good friends, supporters. We're talking with a bunch of people, and everyone's like, man, Alberta needs something. They really need something. And then basically in 2021, we're trying to get our podcast off the ground and up and running. And that kind of imploded like a big nuclear explosion. Just boom.
Small nuclear explosion.
Hard drive.
Localized.
Everything was gone. And basically we decided we had to do something. We had to, from that night on, it was kind of like, you know what? Let's do the expo. Let's just do it.
Well, it was difficult, right? Because we had come back from the Four Corners.
Yep.
Right. That's what we had done the year before. We drove to as far as the roads would take us everywhere in Alberta. Basically did the circuit in Alberta. And the entire time we're out with people, everyone's like, yeah, we don't have really any sort of adventure show where people can come and use the gear that they've just bought and show it off and bring their friends and have all this stuff. We don't really have anything like that. And we thought people wanted it. All of our friends said that that's something that was needed. And when we came back from that Four Corners, we said we were going to start a podcast.
Yeah.
And so we recorded like 7 episodes. And then on the night of the 8th episode, after it all crashed and we lost every single episode, we thought, maybe instead of that, let's do it. Like, what are we going to do? Are we going to do a trip or should we do a show? And then one of us had made the statement of, if we're going to do a show, we're going to do a show. Like we're going to do it right. We want to do it proper. We want to reach out to people and do it proper. And in less than 6 months after that discussion, we brought Joy, Jason's wife, and Courtney Alcock, one of our close friends, in to help us because both of those women are top shelf when it comes to helping and organizing and all that.
So get this. We're not only going to put on a show, we're going to start in the middle of COVID. Right? So
during lockdown.
Yeah, during lockdown.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So my wife actually gets COVID. And that's the reason why we brought Courtney on, because my wife was really sick. She really had a bad experience with it. Yeah. And then, Courtney was kind of, I guess we were talking back and forth, mostly Dave actually at that time. He was doing some camping trips and whatnot with her. I think actually she came up with one out to North Saskatchewan River with us. Yeah. And then all of a sudden it was like, let's get close.
It made sense. Yeah, it just made sense. Yeah,
so
it just made sense. Yeah.
And my wife is feeling a lot better now. So that's great.
Yeah.
But that's how our team came about.
Yeah, that's how it started. And then we just started talking. We started originally what we did. I'll give you a 10,000 bird's eye view. We started meeting once a week, discussing what we would want at this show. And then we just hit the payment and just started to reach out and to see who would be interested. As soon as we knew there were people interested, we booked a venue. And for the first time any of us were doing this, we decided to just wing it. And
people were wanting to get out.
Yes.
Like they wanted an event. Like, was it like, like we're competing.
Yeah, it was
a whole bunch of events.
Yeah.
It was like, no, if you put it on, we're there.
Yeah, it was a rough couple years leading up to it. So that helped us a lot on our launch year.
Yeah, timing was everything on that.
Yeah, like it was us and the Calgary Stampede. That's what you could do.
Pretty much. Yeah. And even then the Calgary Stampede was reduced.
I'm sure we were more fun.
Oh yeah, we were.
Yeah. Well, that's one thing that I have heard is that, like say, I have been up there, but I do plan on going to this September event. And I got a lot of friends and former guests that have gone, and everything I've heard from everybody says that it's a lot of fun. It's relaxed, more relaxed than a lot of the bigger shows. And it's just, there's a lot of stuff going on, but everybody just seems more chill and just hanging out with old friends and meeting new friends. And that's one thing that everybody's just like, yeah, it's a chill event. You have fun, you sit back, you relax. you have a few beers, you have,
Yep.
the dinner, and it's got, it has a lot of the things that a lot of the bigger shows do, say down in the States and that, but it's just, I don't know, maybe more Canadianized. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, actually. More Canadian.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely got a different vibe. I think our venue probably has a lot to do with that. It's the venue itself. It's hard not to just be kind of wowed by it. It's beautiful, lush, green, warm, vast.
That's pretty awesome. So it's basically family land for me.
Mhm.
My cousin owns and operates the grounds there. The land's been in the family for like generations. And every year they put on the Medicine Lodge Rodeo. And it's a huge event. Actually, this last rodeo that they put on, I think, was well over 10,000 people.
Mhm.
Wow. And so it's a big event. And so the grounds themselves are 5 man-made lakes stocked with fish. I think 3 of them are stocked with fish, different types of trout.
We swear to God, they are
they're in
stocked with fish.
Everyone keeps saying they can't.
Are there?
If you don't catch any fish there, the McLeod River
Yeah.
goes right by the ground. So you can go river fishing if you
Yeah.
want.
And there's access to Crown land right through the expo. If you really are just like, listen, I don't camp with people. I camp by myself in the forest.
Yep.
You can do that. You just have to drive through the expo to get there. Yeah, Cappy from 410 Expedition. That's where he camps.
Yeah,
Yeah, he goes right through there. And, yeah, he's
Yeah,
just
he
like,
was
Like,
like,
I've had
wow.
enough of
Yeah,
people
he-
for the day. I got to go, some alone time,
yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. I need to recharge now.
So
Yeah.
I phoned up Dave and I'm like, Dave, I think I know exactly where we're going to pull this off.
Mhm.
Like, let's go for a trip. So we travel all the way out there. I talked to my cousin. I'm like, hey, we just want to take a tour of the grounds. He's like, yeah, come on out. He wasn't thinking we were going to rent them. And so anyways, we're looking around and everything. And he rents it out for like weddings and that type of stuff. So that it's a busy ground. Anyways, Dave's like, this is it.
Oh, yeah, it was it.
This is it.
It was it
We
right
gotta go
away.
here.
Yeah.
And if you ever been to like an Overland Expo or some sort of an event like that, everyone's crammed into
Mhm.
a 10 by 10 space. You camp, you got a neighbor, whether you like it or not. Here, you're going to have neighbors, but it's so spread out. Like
Yeah.
the very fact that, we can go up to 10,000 people pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, and not to like another thing to mention too. I don't want to harp on the venue too much, but the venue provides prime camping areas. If you like to camp in the forests with the tall pines around you, you can choose that. If you like camping under the sky, you can choose that. If you need to be by water, you can choose that. Like
5 lakes.
there's
6 lakes.
5 lakes to choose from. It really does encompass as a space what we're about at the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, and that is outdoor adventure. Now that can be overlanding, it can be rock crawling, it can be rock climbing, kayaking, paddling, all of that.
Boring, whatever.
Paddle boarding, yeah. We really want what we want to do is encourage and create a space where people that love all of Alberta and all of adventures and come out and interact with people. And maybe if one day we're large enough and we attract, enough people out there that, you'll pick up a new hobby. Maybe an overlander comes out and meets a kayaker and realizes you can just throw a kayak on your overland rig and now you're a paddler too.
Yeah. That's one thing that I think is key to your event is that most of us that do overlanding or whatever truck camping or whatever name you throw at it, we also have other hobbies. Like myself, I can say 90% of the time that I go camping, my kayak's with me, right?
Mhm.
Or, my mountain bike, unless I'm out on a trip where we're, hitting the dirt
Yeah.
roads hard with another group. A lot of times I got my kayak with me, got my mountain bike with me or whatever, right? So I think there's so many people. I know I'm not the only one. I know you guys aren't the only ones that all our hobbies sort of intertwine, all our outdoor hobbies. But that's sort of
Yeah.
what your show encompasses is that all these
Mhm.
other hobbies that we all have, whether we're
Yeah.
rock hounding or whether we're fly fishing. I mean,
Yeah.
I know Dave, you're a big fly fisher and
Mhm.
well, you try anyways.
Listen, I pretend like nobody else out there. I am an expert fly fish pretender.
I've seen
Yeah,
it.
but you all,
I know.
that's,
I
we're
know
all
what
like that.
3X means.
So yeah, no, but that's the thing, right? We're all, we all have all these other outdoor hobbies, and to have an event that has these other things in there, like the stand-up paddleboards, you mentioned that earlier. I did see
Mhm.
pictures from the event. We guys are on one of the little lakes there, and there's guys
Yeah.
there, doing the demos or whatever with the stand-up paddleboards. And yeah,
Mhm.
I think it's great that you guys are encompassing not just overlanding or not just four-wheeling, but encompassing the whole outdoor adventure.
Well, we really think it's important. Like we really do. It's a core fundamental thing to the expo because one, we live in a hyper digitalized age where everybody interacts online. We're interacting online right now,
Yeah.
and we live in a world where you can just create a group and interact inside that group. And the Backpacking Alberta has a page, Overland Alberta has a page, Camping Alberta has a page, and we sometimes forget that although people might be in similar groups, that unless we communicate, unless we can come together once a year and really interact with each other on a person-to-person basis, then it becomes easy to distinguish someone as other, or they're another group, or they're the other group. No, we're the same group. All of us, we play in the sandbox that we call the great outdoors. We're climbing the same mountain. We're just on a different face.
Exactly. We all share the same space.
Yeah.
So, why have an event where we all get together,
Sure.
Maybe come up with new ideas and then we never would have thought of before, like that's one thing I really noticed is because we do have such a variety of people and variety of hobbies sharing that space. They're all talking about, hey, let's do this. Let's go on this trip. Like a lot of really new creative things come out of it. And that's actually pretty special.
It is very cool. Yeah.
You guys have had some, for lack of better terms, courses or seminars at your events where people are teaching each other, whether it be, recovery or different things. What are some of the other events, like, whether it be geocaching or how to, do a YouTube channel or, like I mentioned, stand-up paddle boards and stuff like that. What are some of the different seminars that you guys have done?
Peter did that bike
packing. Yeah.
Which was cool. I never knew bike packing was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it is a total thing. Like it's a big up and coming thing. And I want to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a bike packing course. This year we actually had Terry Grant come out and put on a VIP tracking course. So you could pay. It was a very, very intimate experience with a guy that knows everything there is to know about tracking. And he gave you a very in-depth, and we do stuff like that. We bring ARC off-road training out.
Those guys are awesome.
Yeah. Shout out to Chad and his team. You guys are legends in and of itself. We appreciate you guys for coming out every year.
Absolutely.
Really go into detail on recovery gear. Richard from Freedom Recovery Gear comes out and puts out a lot of information. The guys from High Torque Mechanical down in Calgary on our first year came out and did like a trailside diagnostics course. Cool. We had Mountain Surf Co. come out the first year to do paddle boards. We had Jeff has come out and do paddleboard lessons last year. We do yoga every morning. Carrie does a yoga course every morning for those that want to do that. Cooking. Claudio and
that was actually a real good.
The Frimmels came out, and they're very they're both extremely they're health nuts, and they live an outdoor lifestyle. And they were teaching people like how do you actually cook food and prep food outside that is also healthy. So stuff like that. And we're also looking
photography course.
Yeah, photography courses. Yeah, Claudio Frimmel did a photography course, hands-on with the cameras, and actually, loads more. We had Darren Explorers. Darren Explorers come out. Yeah,
photography course.
Yeah,
as well.
Yeah, and a little bit of a social media course on how to leverage your audience and all that jazz if you wanted to get into that space. So we're looking for more as well. This year we even did a wayfinding course, like how do you use a map and compass.
Which now that we have the whole event grounds,
that'll be and that'll be available every year now too. So we really do want to equip people with knowledge, and we're always looking to add to the roster as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like first aid. Have you guys had a first aid course or a sort of a refresher or wilderness style? So there's all kinds of different ideas that that's
actually
great because
2 first aid courses this
week. We did. Yeah, we had wilderness come out and do an information. And Stop the Bleed.
Yeah, from Jason Whalen.
Yeah, Jason Whalen. Yeah.
And he actually got a certificate at the end of the course.
You get certified.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's cool. That's the one thing that really I like is all the different, the cooking I think is a wonderful thing because craft dinner doesn't always, the best.
Yeah. Doesn't always stick like you want it to, does it?
Well, we had a cooking competition the first year.
Oh, we did. Yeah. The spam competition.
Yeah. And we had some really unique entries on that one. That was actually pretty
That was pretty good.
And
yeah.
Some of them actually tasted pretty good too.
If you're not a spam person, then you might find that surprising, but there is ways you can church it up a little bit.
So yeah, we had a couple of our judges were from Goatee and Badger. They're a local kind of well-known food truck, and they go to all the pubs and bars and stuff, and not just in Red Deer, but Edmonton, Calgary, and so they came to the expo with their food truck, and so they were the judges. So they were, I would say, probably some of the top-notch judges we could ever.
Oh yeah, for sure. We got lucky.
Yeah, and they said, "Wow, we were totally taken aback with how good some of these spam dishes were.
I think the only way to make spam taste good is wrap it in bacon.
Everything tastes good wrapped in bacon.
Oh, Four Corners Expedition, chocolate wrapped.
Oh yeah, chocolate wrapped bacon. Yeah, that's a thing. By the way, you should try it.
Yeah, we
bacon wrapped chocolate.
years ago.
That's
Years ago we had a party at a friend's place, and it was BYOB, bring your own bacon. So you had to bring bacon and something. So I mean, somebody brought bacon beer, which is absolutely disgusting. But
yeah, that sounds disgusting. Yeah, that doesn't sound like
wrong, right? But I did chocolate covered bacon, and that was really good. So yeah, if anybody's looking for a good idea for a theme party sometime, BYOB, bring your own bacon.
Bring your own bacon. I like that. We might have to do that.
Yeah, maybe this week.
BYOB camp out.
Yeah.
Bring your own bacon.
Yeah, there you go.
I like it.
Yeah, I think but I think you guys got some really good ideas there. Though actually, the yoga one I think is a great idea, because as I get older, if I don't do my stretching in the morning, I'm screwed for sometimes that day's not bad, but it's the next day that I really feel it, right? So, I just turned 51 last week, and I'm like, if I don't do my stretching in the morning, I just, I got to do it. So, sometimes people see me out doing my stretches in the morning, but, when we're camping it out, but they're also old too, so they understand.
Well, and it's also a big event. Like it's a physically demanding event. The venue's large. There's many vendors that come out, and the vendor area is quite large. So there's a lot of walking, a lot of physical activity involved. So we just want to set people up to have as best time as possible. And I think the easy way to do that is just to offer some good quality yoga in the morning.
Yep.
Yeah. And people really, actually our first year we had Overland lady come out. She goes, what? There's
Monique. Yeah. Monique's like, wait, there's yoga here this morning? Yeah, there's yoga.
Yeah, so she thought that was
she thought that was the bee's knees. Yeah.
Oh, I think that's a great idea. So your fall event is, obviously your initial event, and you're gonna be having it again this year. But you guys have a new event coming up this year in May in Red Deer. And
that's right.
Gonna be a little different. It's May 13th through 14th in Red Deer.
Yep.
But it's going to be a little different than your main event up in September, in that it's all in one building for the most part, right? Yeah. So maybe you can tell the listeners a little bit about this event.
Well, this event is basically, we call it the Gear Up event because everyone's getting ready for May Long.
Yeah.
May Long is always traditionally the big camping weekend. So this is the weekend before. We call it the Gear Up event. We did it for supporting a lot of the vendors that have been supporting us with the expo. Yep. And a lot of people buy on that weekend before May Long because they want to get geared up. So that's what this whole event is all about. Now, that said, we also have guest speakers. We have on Sunday, we're going to be having a women in overlanding roundtable.
That's a big one. Listen to this. Listen to this, guys.
Cool. This is cool. So we have Cappy from 410 Expedition. His wife is going to be joining it. We have, what's her name?
Kira.
Desk to Glory.
Ashley
Giordano. Yep. She is actually tying in remotely to become part of the conversation.
Yeah, because she'll be in Iceland with Richard.
No, not Iceland. I think it's Africa.
Oh, wow.
Anyways, it's a big trip. They're actually shipping their vehicle over right now for. Anyways, they're going to tie in. And then we've also got, have you ever seen Ozark Overland Adventures?
Yep.
Well, Kara is going to be tying in as well. And it'll be kind of cool. So my wife has been kind of organizing it, and she's super excited because she's like, oh, they're in. Yeah. So
nice.
I
That's
hear this
great.
at like 3 a.m. when she gets the emails and stuff like that.
It's going to be really good because, it's going to happen. Like we're operating on Sunday, which is Mother's Day as well, So some people are like, oh, could you do it another weekend? It's like, well, moms like to adventure too. And, we've got something a little special planned for her. And, hosting the women of Overlanding, it's as Joyce said, she wants to see more women in this space. And Monique is a big trendsetter there as well. Absolutely. And, there's plenty of room here. So it's important that we give those people a space as well.
Well, I was looking at the Mountains of Memories.
Yes. Yeah. Amanda from Mountains of Memories is going to be there as well. Yeah.
What's really cool about it is we're going to see all these different aspects of women getting out there and adventuring. It's all about adventure travel, and they all do it in their own ways. And, it's becoming a really big thing. Like if you go down to the States, and you go to some of these remote areas where everyone's camping, down there, it seems like there's a huge percentage of women getting out on their own, doing solo travel, getting out and doing all this.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't see it as much up here in Canada, but
Well, I mean, it does,
there.
winter kills people
A little
here.
bit,
So it's a little different here. We can't live in a van down by the river 6 months out of the year. So
Well, Dave might prove that wrong here soon, but
maybe I'll have to find me one of those girls down in the States living in the van life.
There you go. There you go.
Ladies.
Yeah, I hear you got yourself a van now. So, but that's one thing I was looking over the schedule for the May 13th and 14th event there in Red Deer. And I saw that and I think it's like 3 o'clock on Sunday, I believe. And I'm looking at the list and like you said, there's some very well-known ladies and also, ladies with lots of experience as well too. Right. And I was like, that is just perfect, especially on Mother's Day. And yeah, that's one thing that I constantly hear from listeners, on the show is, when are you going to have more females? When are you going to have more women? And my first female guests were a couple ladies from West Kelowna that did in the Rebel Rally. And that was an awesome.
What was their team name?
Oh,
Do you remember? They were the only Canadian team that year, I believe, right?
last year they just got back. It was like, I did in October. They were back for like a week and a half when they did the episode. Positivity.
Oh, okay, yeah. I follow the Rebel pretty close. I think the Rebel Rally is really cool. And shout out to the Rebel Rally. You guys should follow them on YouTube because that's where they host their big Rebel lives. So yeah, shout out to the Rebel.
Yeah, it was great. The Positivity team from West Kelowna. And it was just, it was an awesome interview in that, they had so much fun down there and just, they're talking about overcoming things as females in the sport and learning and different things like that. And I still get a lot of, and little teaser here for the listeners is that I actually have a guest co-host coming on for some shows coming up. And Kara was on the interview with me from GTA Jeep Girls. It's a Jeep only, female only club out of the Ontario area. And she is one of the ladies that came on board and she messaged me about a day or so after. Said, I had so much fun. How can I help out? What can I do? And so I said, you want to be a guest host? And she's like, yeah, got an idea. Cool. So she has contacted some of the people that she mentioned during the show. She contacted them and she's setting up dates and she's, doing all the writing all the interview questions and she's doing the research. And so she's going to be, on for a few episodes and I hope, a lot more in the next coming year. Right. So,
cool.
I think it's just bring that female perspective to the show as well too. Right. So,
well, the world's only full of half of them are out there. So
that's what I find. It's really cool because I'll be straight up. My wife is not a camper. She hates.
That's a good point.
But yet she's getting into it because as she's growing and getting into it, she's like, this is kind of cool.
Yep.
She hated wheeling.
Until she started wheeling.
Until she started.
Yeah.
It's funny because she'll see like a trail on YouTube or something.
Where does that go?
That actually looks like something I'd drive. And I'm like, yes. Yeah. You got her done.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just opens up, the world opens up, a little bit when you just make room for, there's plenty of space out here. This is Canada. There's lots of places to adventure, and we're big proponents of, equality of opportunity, at Expo. And we like to give everybody the space that they can and the opportunities that they can, to live in this space and to experience this space, which is, why it was such a big deal that Monique came out on year one. She did a whole talk on what it was like as a woman to leave her, fairly conservative, values, instilled in her by her family and strike out into the world. And, I'm going to give you guys a book to read. If you haven't read it, I really encourage you guys to read a book called The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho. It's one of the best books that you'll ever read. It changed my life. And I really think it's, if you're into adventure and you're wondering what's the purpose of it, The Alchemist will really tell you exactly what that is and probably inspire you to get out there and see the world a little bit too. So sorry to divert there, but The Alchemist.
It's all good. I wrote it down. So
yeah, it's good. It's good. It was side note. I was backpacking through South America. I met a guy at the Lima airport who was Canadian and somehow noticed that I was Canadian and handed me this book and it was in Spanish. And he's like, read this book. It'll change your life. He ended up being some like Bitcoin guy who sold a company and now he's a millionaire and now he's living out of a backpack. But yeah, he put me on the book, and it was amazing. And I would be remiss if I didn't put others onto it as well.
Often check it out for sure. Definitely. I think that sometimes the panel that you have for the ladies of overlanding panel that you have on Sunday, I think a lot of the YouTube ladies don't realize how impactful they are with the content that they're putting out. I mean, Monique is definitely, you hear lots of people talking about her, but, Ashley as well from, Dust to Carrying Up. But I don't think they realize how impactful they are. I've got a friend, Terry Ann, she goes, she explores off road, and she, up until a year or so ago, was sort of, it was all about the kids and hockey and all that stuff. And then she started doing some more hiking and that. And then she started seeing people on Instagram doing stuff and YouTube, and females doing stuff by themselves. It's one thing to see them with your husband or the boyfriend, but to see these people doing things by themselves. And she's like, well, maybe I can do that. And then, it went from the first night of camping by herself to now, she's doing it lots, and she's got a good little following on Instagram. But I think a lot of people don't realize how influential they can be to just random people. Right. So I
think it's also important to note too, that it's difficult to understand someone's perspective of why they do something or their inspiration to do something. And if you see someone operating or trying to experience or dipping their toes in a space that you're competent in, I think it's really important that we actually encourage that, because that creates an environment that nurtures people to do more, and it encourages other people to do that. And I think as men, it's our obligation, if we see, women in this space that are, out there doing it themselves, to just encourage that, and be a voice of encouragement and support rather than any alternative, really.
Well, a good example is my wife. She doesn't consider herself by any means, like some expert in the field or anything else, but yet she gets out there. And in the process, she's inspiring other people, not really realizing she's inspiring other people.
Exactly.
I did a YouTube video all about my wife and how she got into overlanding and wheeling and driving and going off road for the first time. And that particular video, I got a lot of comments saying, man, you know what, that really inspired me to get out and to do things, from women that would normally not go with their husbands. Now all of a sudden they're fully involved. And my wife has all these really awesome friends now that are all doing the same thing. And, they're all inspiring each other is how it's working. And
you know what? I'm glad you said that, because I think as a content creator, specifically a naturally introverted content creator, which is what I think I am, it's really easy to go out into the back 40, do some fishing, film it, throw it on the internet, interact with people online, and forget that you have people use the term influencer too often, but it's an appropriate term, because what you're doing is influencing. And I don't have a large following on YouTube or Instagram, but what I do have is a devout group of people that love what I do and that I love interacting with. And so many of these people on random occasions just reach out and said, hey, you know what? Like, I get messages that are like, a novel long. It's just, I found you like a year and a half ago. I bought a Nissan Frontier and I've just been watching your videos, and I just wanted to say, I really appreciate what you're doing. Keep it up. I'm friends with people now that knew me before I knew them, and that's, it's weird. But I think what happens is you forget that sometimes, because you're behind the camera and you're the one making the video. So what the experience was actually like, and you're trying your best to share what that experience felt like. And I think it's hard. I think it's easy to not realize how influential you are. And I forget it all the time. And I intentionally remain humble about it, just because that's the right thing to do. But man, like, some of these people, like, I have the people that have inspired me to do this. Joe Robinette is a bushcrafter out of Ontario that I have had the absolute pleasure of speaking with. He was planning on coming to Expo last year, but family things got in the way. And, he's got millions of followers on YouTube. And, he was one of my inspirations to start making videos and put them on the internet. And, I think you have a responsibility to some degree there as a creator to just encourage people, encourage men, women, children to just spend time in the outdoors. And
that's really what this whole expo is about.
What it's all about
is to just encourage people to get out.
Yeah. And I mean, if you're not confident, like Joy,
yeah,
if you're not an outdoorsy person, having washrooms, flushable toilets, hot water, food trucks, the ability to go shopping, and all these cool equipment out that in front of you to show you exactly how comfortable we can make the outdoor space for you, it makes it more accessible. And I think that's important.
Definitely, the comfort, it has to be there. Now, your spring show, there is camping available right close, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So basically across the parking lot, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, they have there's camping in behind the facility, and then they actually have an actual campground as well. And I think we have links on the website. So if you wanted to stay the night there, you totally could.
Yeah.
But if you did want to go camping, 100%.
Yes, there is camping available.
It is not like the camping that we do at the expo, like the full-on expo.
Right.
Like I say, this is the Gear Up event. This is for people to come out, spend their money, gear up for, May long. And
very much a gear equipment focused type event. If you've been on the fence about what to get and you want to see 5 different rooftop tents and touch them and feel them before you make the purchase, this is going to be where you're going to want to do it. You can touch the things.
There. You can ask them questions.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be their best. It's going to be the best place to buy your outdoor gear every year, period. We're trying to bring as many of the manufacturers and distributors and suppliers of these products to you. And we will continue to do that every year. We'll try to bring as many in the outdoor space as we can. What we are struggling with right now is to try to bring out more of the outdoor adventure-y type, like the fly fishing outfits and the tours and the cabin people. Like, we really want to reach as many vendors as possible. We even have spots available for small businesses that make, maybe small outdoor equipment that,
they make it in their
paracord bracelets and stuff like that. Yeah. Like we got tables available for those people. So it really is accessible for every level of entrepreneur out there as well.
And the nice thing is this is an event put on by enthusiasts, not an event put on a trade show company that is catering to enthusiasts.
That's right.
So this is all about us getting excited about people that make their stuff and say, let's do something cool.
Yeah.
And so that's the difference between this event and a lot of the other events that are out there. It's for the enthusiasts.
That's right. Yeah. That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good job.
That's a really good point. And you've got some companies that have been with you guys since day one. Can you maybe give a quick shout out to some of those companies that are going to be at the May event that have been
absolutely
long time partners or partners with you guys right from the beginning?
Yeah, without having the list in front of us, so we apologize if we missed anybody. But the chicks over at Treadhead Garage is an absolute big one. Treadhead Garage is out of Edmonton, massive supporters, and they're down in the Easter Jeep Safari right now in Moab. So shout out to you guys. I hope you guys are having a good time. Crave Automotive, obviously out of Calgary, staunch and avid Toyota supporters. We don't hold that against them, just like they don't hold it against me that I own a Nissan Frontier. Who else? 4-Wheel Auto out of Edmonton. ARC 4x4 training.
Yeah, those guys are amazing.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to go spend some time there with them.
I think it would be a good idea. Yeah, I think it would be a good idea.
They have the knowledge base with those guys is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. Who else we got that were there from the very beginning?
Right from the very beginning.
Backwoods Glamping.
Backwoods Glamping.
Yeah, Trish.
Well, just for the listeners out there that may not know what Backwoods Glamping is all about, they do hot tubs that you can put in the wild.
Yeah.
And it's really cool.
And saunas.
Yeah, saunas.
Yeah.
Too. Like there, you hook them up. You got a water source. You got a hot tub.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're propane driven, and they always set them up at the expo as well, so that everyone can go and enjoy them. And they're probably the most visited booth.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure they are.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome actually. You see just crowds just beelining, and hopping in the hot tub. So
yeah, we had a lot of great Smart Tent.
Yeah,
and Smart Tent out of Edmonton.
I keep eyeing up his tent's pretty hard.
It's hard not to. Aubrey from Gear 4 Overland.
Aubrey,
actually big one. Yeah, Aubrey.
He's a big supporter.
He's a big supporter of what we're doing, and so shout out to you, Aubrey, and your partner from Gear 4 Overland. That weird camper company, Yucca Campers, has been there from the beginning. So,
I remember
and of course,
the first
Raven.
expo. You were in such a rush to have the Yucca pack.
Listen,
Like putting it together. Like,
I chose the worst time to start a company. And then I realized I was building a product that I couldn't go to a show and launch. So I had to build a show to go and launch a product that I had launched and built from a different company that I had built prior. It was a busy year.
Oh yeah. It was poor Dave, man. I'd be phoning him like, "Hey Dave, are you almost ready to go?" No.
It was a good time. But yeah, so those are some of the OGs. So I apologize if I missed anybody. But yeah, those are some of the originals that came out there and really supported us from the get-go.
That's great. And you mentioned that with this new event on the May 13th and 14th, that there is some, it's more geared towards vendors and that.
Mhm.
And have you got some vendors coming up that have not been at your other expo before that are first timers that people may be surprised to learn that, hey, these guys are coming?
Yeah. Yeah, we do. We've got a couple of new ones. I don't know off the top. I'll be honest. I don't know who they are off the top of my head right now, but we do have some ones coming back, and we do have some new ones as well. Like I said, we really are reaching out to as many people as we can.
Yep.
And the show space is difficult, right? Because most of the shows happen prior. So you have the RV shows, and then you have the other outdoor adventure show that aren't in any way affiliated with us, and we are so much better and superior in every way.
I should put on by enthusiasts. That's we're
That's the legal truth, is that we are better. But yeah, there are some new guys coming out. We got some more fishing people coming out.
Cool.
And then some returning off-grid trailers coming again, I believe. And yeah, it's going to be great. And I believe a Summit or a Mission might actually be there as well this year. Should be good because I'd like to see those trailers. I'm sure they're awesome and cool still.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potentials that might be coming here to this next show. So I'm kind of excited how it's going to turn out.
Yeah, you'll see lots of familiar gear and vendors, and you'll also see lots of new ones.
Cool.
It's a lot easier when it's centrally located, right? Like it's you got a city around you. It's the Fall Expo. It is a big drive to get up there. So the fact that we're able to amass, nearly 1,000 people to show up and drive well over 1,000 kilometers to get there for some of these people, that we had people drive as far as Quebec.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And as far south as Idaho, I think it was. People travel a long ways for it, but the spring event is really localized. And there's still people driving from BC. So
yeah, it's going to be cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought about going out actually, but it's just, timing wise, it's not working out. So, but I definitely, like I say, want to be there for your September event. I don't really have an excuse because I'm only 8 hours away or something like that, right? I'm not in Idaho or Quebec, so there's no excuse for me not to show up. So one thing I noticed about the spring event is that the ticket prices are, I think, pretty reasonable. $20 per day or $30 for the weekend. Are those prices online only, or will they be the same price at the gate?
Same price at the gate.
Online and same as the gate.
Yep.
So, I mean, at the expo, you have camping involved, right? So you pay to stay there for the weekend.
Yeah.
It is there's more happening too. There's more courses going on. There's more people to meet. So
it's a whole thing. Yeah.
It's a show versus
it's an expo versus a show.
An expo versus a show. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
So yes, the tickets are more expensive for the expo, but you get a lot more for it.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
$20 to $30 for a weekend. Plus you're probably going to meet some cool people.
Oh yeah.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
It's kind of putting on a trade show. We have to be in that space, right? It's centrally located. We need feet on the floor.
Yeah.
And so we have to price it accordingly.
Yeah.
Whereas the expo, it's a destination event.
That's right.
People go there because, hey, man, that's the expo this year. I'm taking time off work.
And it's also it's the September long weekend. It's the last hoorah. And if there's any way to send off summer, it's with a bang. And let me tell you something, we bang.
Well,
we bang
also
hard.
Forest fire around the corner too, but
yeah, that was brutal. Yeah, that Sunday morning when the smokes come.
Oh yeah, that wasn't fun.
Yeah. There's a lot of worried people. Like, I don't think we're getting home.
Yeah, there's quite a few people who probably safely made the right decision to turn and burn a little early Sunday.
Yeah. You should try living in the interior of BC with all our fires.
Well, it's that time of year too, right? Like, we wanted to book it during time when, one, there aren't any other events happening at that exact same weekend, and two, we wanted it to be a special time of year. And September long, I mean, in Alberta, that's the send off for summer, and I think that's a really cool way to end it for a lot of families.
I think it's a perfect time of year for it, to be honest with you. Like you say, there's no
Yeah.
other events in that, time realm.
Yeah.
There's some stuff, in June or July, but, September long weekend, I think is perfect.
Yeah.
Being a
Well, it's
long
the end
weekend.
of the season, right? Yeah. Which is
Yeah.
why, it's a big reason we wanted to offer a spring event specifically for our vendors in our community for the spring. So if you're looking to buy before, the summer, and as a business, you're looking to reach your customers before their needs actually become their needs, then we can solve both of those problems at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's
While it's on my mind, can I put a big shout out to somebody?
definitely. Yeah.
So one of the people that really influenced me to jump ahead with this expo and to move ahead with it, a gentleman named Kevin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
He's an OG four-wheel. He used to put on the high rider shows, if you
Yeah.
remember the high rider shows.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Anyways,
Yeah.
he really got behind me personally and said, Jay, you got to do this.
Yeah,
You
very
have what
early.
it takes. You have to. And he was one of the influencing decisions when Dave goes, we got to do something. I'm like, you know what?
I'm going to call
Yeah.
someone.
Yeah.
And he called Kevin.
Yeah. Kevin.
Yeah.
Kevin was my guy. And he was the guy that inspired me to move ahead with it.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to give a shout out to Kevin, man, because
Good call.
he's a pretty special guy. to me.
That's the right move. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've organized a lot of large events in the past, a lot of racing events or different events and that. And I know how much work and stress happens during, before, and even after these events. But it's when you take a second to breathe during the event and look around, everybody's having fun, everybody's enjoying themselves, and watching all that for even just a few seconds that you have, that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing people having fun and Yep.
Oh, I want to tell a really quick story about first year expo. So the first year expo, first night, there was like 100 campfires. You could just look out into the night and you just saw 100 campfires. The second night, there was like campfires. And most people think like, oh, there was only 12 people there. No, all those people decided to get into these little groups and and they have their own
Yep.
like giant bonfires. And it was
really cool.
it was so cool to see like, okay, I don't really know anybody here. I'm just going to hang out in my little space and have my own little fire. Then in the morning you talk to your neighbors and you meet people while you're shopping. And it was just such a cool, and the vibe that expo carries is just, let me tell you, it is so wholesome and so fun and so damn safe. If you are looking for a space to go to where you will be welcomed and accepted as an adventure traveler in any capacity, I have a space and we have a space for you at the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo forever.
Well
Straight
said.
up.
And I think one thing to point out too is that this is not just a guy's thing, or it's not just a girl's thing, but this is a family event.
Yes.
This is bring your kids. I've seen lots of videos of the Alberta Outdoor Expo, and there's kids all over the place, and everybody's just having so much fun. The
Yeah.
kids are, and that's what a lot of this is all about, right? It's
There's events
family.
specifically for kids too.
Yep.
Like
Great.
we bought 2 bouncy castles specifically for the kids. Like we have this idea that we're just going to have this little carnival for the kids, so they could just if they're not interested in the cool stuff that dad or mom are interested in, they can kind of wander off into the kids area. And yeah, it's very, very family
And
friendly.
speaking from experience, fat guys like me do not belong in the bouncy castle.
No.
But yeah,
I was just
Normie.
going to ask when you guys should do that again. Bring out bouncy castles, one free for the kids, and one like $10. People got pay adults got paid $10 to go in.
That's a
Man,
great
you
idea.
can make so much killing
actually.
off of that.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that. That's a good idea, Wes. I like that a lot. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, definitely
yeah.
kids. I don't know how to explain it, but having a family event is
Mm-hmm.
definitely makes it more welcoming, and
Yeah.
it just makes everybody more comfortable in regards to, if they do happen to bring their family and they see other families there.
Yeah.
If people are thinking about going and thinking about bringing their families, do it. There's all kinds of
Yeah,
families out
100%.
there.
and your dogs.
Yeah.
And
Bring your
dogs,
dogs
too.
too.
There you
It's
go.
very dog friendly. Yep.
Yeah.
The spring expo, we can't have dogs, but the
Yeah.
fall expo,
Fall expo, bring dogs.
Bring your dogs.
Yep.
You just have to make sure, because there is livestock nearby that, obviously you can keep a leash on.
Yep.
And when you're out in public,
Yeah, if you leave your camp, put your dog on a leash.
Yeah.
But if you're at
Yeah.
camp and your dog's well behaved,
Yeah.
we're not crazy out there. But yeah, just Same with your kids, just be
Don't put a
careful.
leash on the kids.
Well, I mean,
Just let them run.
look at the kids, but yeah.
Or your cat. I know a couple of people that bring their cats camping with them. So
Yes,
Yep.
there was a couple down there at Expo that had these little backpacks. And he had this little cat in the backpack and he could walk around and the cat could see everything. And I thought that was pretty neat. Yeah.
that's cool. That's cool. Just don't bring snakes.
Don't bring what?
Don't bring snakes. I'm not a snake person.
Oh yeah, don't bring snakes. Don't leave your lizards at home. There's enough geckos.
that-
You'll find
Cool to
geckos.
see someone walking a iguana.
I think it would be more weird than cool.
Yeah, true.
I mean, it would be like, that's weird. Cool.
Cool,
kinda
but
cool.
weird. So every event relies heavily on its team members. With the AOA, all the team are volunteers, right? And
Yeah,
you've
absolutely.
got a great team of volunteers. And I don't throw you guys on the spot again, but maybe if you can give a shout out to some of those volunteers and people that have helped you out over the last few years.
We have a huge group and we actually have a dedicated chat for the volunteers.
Mhm.
There's such awesome people. I mean, without it, we couldn't really do what we're doing.
Oh yeah, no, we couldn't at all. Period. End of conversation. Yeah, without them.
And it's the great thing about the volunteers is they're all enthusiasts, Gus.
Mhm.
So they want this to happen. They want to be a part of something that happens. And it's a big reason why we don't charge a lot of money.
Yeah.
If you compare our prices to a lot of other prices, you'll find we are very, very low. And there's a reason for that.
Yep.
Because we want our enthusiasts to get together and have
Mhm.
fun. And we don't want that, hey, I'm not going to spend $1,000 to get there and pay tickets.
So we know things are expensive and fuel is expensive right now. And we are fully aware that we are out there. Like
Yeah.
we know that Edmonton is an hour drive from where we are, right? So it is a ways out there. And that's why it makes so much, like, we're so grateful for our volunteers like Rick and Greg and Janaea and Paul and who else is on there? Zach, Raymond, Bruce, Jason Whalen. So the guy that actually holds our Stop the Bleed course is also our event medic, and then Greg also doubles as that. And, for the last 2 years, Rick has been our mascot. And
The Balkans, Mike and Liz.
yeah, Mike, Liz, Jason, and Sherry Bakken, like the list goes on. And without them, we couldn't. And so to all of our volunteers, both past, present, and future, the AOA Expo is for you, which is why when you come as a volunteer for the Expo, we structure your day in such a way that you can actually take part in the show itself. You don't have to pay to be a volunteer. You don't get paid to be a volunteer, but you do get to come and experience it. And from what I'm told, we both have family that volunteer, and from the volunteers that have Jen, Courtney's friend Jen, and our marketing genius Drew. He came out last year and just said, hey, we can really work with you guys to try to bring this to the next level and try to get to as many people as possible. And
cool. She came out as an enthusiast.
Yeah. And later became, someone to help us broaden that reach. So without him, we would kind of be, sitting on our hands again, trying to figure out how to use Google AdWords and Facebook marketing. So shout out to him as well, because, everybody that has come to Expo has stayed at Expo.
Yeah. It's been a really good experience.
Yeah,
So.
100%.
So when she does she does all the organizing for the schedules on, the volunteers and everything else. I had a couple volunteers go, I'm getting in and for free, but I don't feel like I'm working here. And she says, well, did you put in your shift? Oh yeah. Go have fun.
Go nuts.
Like that's not what this is about. This is about getting together and putting on an event that everyone enjoys. So yeah, no, it was really good. Yeah. It was really good. And it's good to see people enjoy themselves.
Yeah. And we got lots of people who want to volunteer. If you guys want information about how to volunteer, I would encourage you to go to www.aoaexpo.com. It's where you're going to find all the information as a volunteer. It's where you're going to find tickets, information for the spring and fall show. Look us up on YouTube. Honestly, that's the best way to do it, because you can see firsthand exactly what people have experienced coming to the Expo. You can see it on Monique's page. You can see it on Gary's page. Lots of people out there. The Unexpected Off-Road as well.
I liked this video.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Yeah. So yeah, absolutely. Volunteers. Expo doesn't run without them, and it will never run without them, because it's not something that we can do with 4 people.
100%. Yeah, no, you guys nailed it. Volunteers is crucial to an event like that.
Mhm.
I know you guys really appreciate all the volunteers, all the work that they do, for sure. So we're talking to Jason and Dave from the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, And as he mentioned, you can check him at aoaexpo.com, and you can check him out on Facebook and Instagram at aoaexpo. And you guys had to make it really complicated to say, didn't you?
We went through it. We went through a couple of iterations of, because there's some words we can't use because they are trademarked.
Yes.
So we
Right.
had to have something that flows. But however, you say it a couple times, the Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo, or the AOA, it kind of rolls off your tongue a little bit.
Like, you can't call certain events rallies anymore because they're trademarked.
Yeah.
Within
Right.
certain. Yeah, we had to be very specific in what we called it.
I think it's actually a really good name because it's very descriptive of what it is. You know, it's Alberta. It's outdoor adventure, right? Like, it's a very descriptive name. So you pick it up right away what this event is about. So now the last question we ask each guest is, what Canadian would you like to listen to on the 4x4 Canada podcast?
Eric Brinker
Mm,
of Brinkfab Motorsports.
yep.
I have to second that because I went with Eric down to King of the Hammers. And so for a lot of people who don't know what Eric does, he builds Ultra 4 cars.
He builds the Ultra 4 car.
So he has a lot of race teams down there that run with his chassis. And he does it all in chassis. Yeah. Like his crash, everything. Like he builds
Chassis.
this. He builds chassis. Sorry.
How dare you?
Chassis. So anyway.
It's the caribou boy in you.
But yeah, no, he does an amazing job. He builds differentials himself. He builds the frame himself, the suspension himself. Like these cars are built to take a huge abuse. And so when I went down with him, it was a real eye opener because obviously his motor blew, so he was out of the run. But he stayed and made sure that anyone who had his chassis.
Yeah. Thank you.
I
I appreciate the effort you put into that.
Oh no,
That's good.
It was.
That's a good job.
Anyways, he stayed and made sure every one of them had a fighting chance to place well.
Yeah.
If somebody needed work, man, he had his mechanics on there. It was like, bang, let's get this guy rolling. So not only is he a really fierce competitor, but the sense of teamwork he has with everybody down there is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So
Just a genuine, honestly,
yes,
just an absolute genuine dude.
Yeah.
Who is so nice, ordinarily skilled at everything mechanical.
stuff he can build.
Oh, we're talking Elon Musk level kind of super truck builds, that'll blow your socks off. That's why I take my truck there. That's why I do it.
That's why I take my Jeep there.
Yeah. Straight up.
Yeah.
Eric Brinker from Brinkfab Motorsports.
An excellent choice. I've heard a lot of really great things about him, not only from the sportsmanship side of it, but also from the quality and the quality of his builds. And yeah, I agree 100%. So he is definitely on the list for sure. So, and like I said earlier, I do want to get you guys back on the show as separate guests, and we can talk more about the Yucca Pack, and we can also talk more about Overland Alberta and your YouTube channel and go from there. Once again, Jason and Dave from Alberta. What the hell we talked about today? I did good the whole show.
You nailed it the whole time. That's okay. It's bound to happen.
The Alberta Outdoor Adventure Expo. There we go.
Yeah.
And I know I've said it before, and I'll throw these in the show notes for everybody, but the AOAexpo.com and AOA Expo on Facebook and on Instagram. So once again, really appreciate you guys coming on board. I'm really looking forward to hearing all about your event May 13th or 14th in Red Deer. And I do hope to make it up to your September event and on September long weekend up in Alberta.
Pleasure is genuinely ours, man. We've been listening to episodes, so we really dig what you're doing, man. Keep doing it.
I appreciate it.
And yeah, I appreciate you. Truly.
That's great, guys.
Likewise, absolutely.
Yeah, appreciate all the input too. It's been a ride, and it's going to be a good ride for the.
And it's only going to get. It's wild. When you start doing something for you in pursuit of a vision or pursuit of a passion, nothing ever gets easier. But the purpose for the suffering has purpose, and that makes it purposeful. So it never gets easier, but it does get purposeful. And for you, my friend, I trust and I hope that you continue to find your purpose and that you move towards it.
Absolutely.
I appreciate that, guys. Thanks a lot, and we will chat soon.